My name is Ellen Thomas-Stanford. My family has lived at Preston Manor for nearly 150 years, and I was born here in 1848. Sadly, my father William died when I was only 5, leaving me heiress to the Stanford estate. My mother, Eleanor, married again to Captain MacDonald. She gave him 3 daughters, my half-sisters. First Flora, and then the twins, Diana and Christiana. I enjoyed 2 social seasons in London and met Vere Fane Bennett of Pitt House in Wiltshire. He was very dashing. We married in 1867 when I was 19, and in accordance with my father's will, Vere took the Stanford name. Our son, John Bennett Stanford, was born 3 years later. We divided our time between Pitt House and our London house in South Kensington. In 1890 we bought a yacht and a house in Madeira, where we spent the winters for the sake of Vere's health. My mother and half-sisters continued to live at Preston Manor. Vere died in Madeira in 1894, but I continued to visit the island and I met Charles Thomas there. We married in 1897, and he also took the Stanford name. After my mother's death in 1903, we decided to make Preston Manor our main residence. Charles threw himself into Brighton's civic life. In 1910, he was elected mayor, an office he was persuaded to hold for 3 years. In 1914, he was elected as Conservative Member of Parliament for Brighton, a position he continues to hold. We're often called upon to entertain some of the most prominent members of society. The writer Rudyard Kipling and his wife Carrie are particular friends, and Princess Beatrice, the daughter of the late Queen Victoria, visits us frequently. We've even had the Crown Prince of Sweden to dine with us. Of course, none of this would have been possible if I had not taken pains to have Preston Manor run like a well-oiled machine. Every morning before we rise, the maids clean the grates, set the fires, and ensure the reception rooms are presentable for any social calls. I decide on daily menus and discuss them with our cook and housekeeper. She and her staff order the food and prepare the meals. On special occasions, the presentation of the dining table is of particular importance. I plan the place settings carefully in advance, and our butler ensures we have the correct wines to complement each of the courses. I feel so weary these days, especially when I think of my poor grandson Vere, John's only son. Such a fine young man, quite unlike his wastrel of a father. Like so many young men of his generation, he went to fight in the Great War. He was awarded the Military Cross for his heroism, but was poisoned by gas in 1916. He insisted on returning to the army, but for the last few years, he has been an invalid. My greatest fear is that he may not live to inherit the estate.